Hello, welcome Twitch chat and YouTube. This is attempt number 2 to play this deck. We're testing for the Vintage Showcase next weekend, and I had some ideas involving Paradoxical Outcome, some ideas involving Oath, and some ideas involving Paradoxical Outcome and Oath. Unfortunately, the last stream didn't happen as I forgot to register for the tournament, which apparently is a prerequisite to playing in the tournament. So there was no challenge yesterday. But we should be about to get this prelim to fire once the 12th person joins, so we'll get to do that today. The idea of this deck is it's a very basic Justin dress down PO deck, substituting Mentor and Balance for Library and Oko. Everything else is pretty stock in terms of a Justin's kind of dress down PO style deck. And then as my sideboard plan for Dredge and my sideboard plan for Dredge and Shops, I'm going to try to bringing in Oath of Druids and Sarah's Emissary. Everything else is pretty stock, just, some removal for the Hate Bears decks, some Hercles for the Shops decks, a small graveyard artifact package with Karn, as well as turning Karn into a win condition with Microsynth Lattice, the extra Flusterstorm for combo, and then, of course, feeding up on Shops and Dredge using the Oath of Druids Emissary package. I really liked the Emissary package out of the board when we played Oath. I thought it was a pretty good way to combat those decks. So I feel like if I can just play a normal PO deck, and then I have extra tech for the the decks that I think are big percentages of the metagame. We're gonna hop right into round 1 of this prelim as we've just fired. So yeah, exactly. Bug PO with an Oath sideboard plan for Dredge and Shops. Here we've got some good fast mana. Force. Yeah, I like this hand. This hand covers a lot of bases. Hand's pretty bad against Dredge, but most game 1 hands are bad against Dredge. Okay, it is Volcanic Island. So I like where we're at to start against Volcanic Island. If we draw like an Opal and play a turn 1 Narset, that'd be ideal. Yeah, there's like a bunch of matchups where there are things that hate on PO, and I feel like the Oath plan should be helpful. Let's see. I felt like the Oath plan was one of the Sarah's Emissary plan was one of the best parts of playing like the Control Oath deck. So I feel like if we put okay, so it's gonna be blue-red. Interesting. Thought it was gonna be blue-red Temple, but now it's gonna look like blue-red Saga maybe. So they haven't played anything yet. It does probably mean my Narset is getting Pyroblasted, but Tropical. So I have to consider, do I want to get my Underground Sea Wastelanded? Yeah, it could easily be Breach as well. Saga Breach. The mountain in the main is a little awkward, a little weird. If my Narset gets Pyroblast, I might just force pitching Hercles, to be honest. But then Hercles might have value if they are on Saga. So maybe, but I guess I have Dress Down to cover that, so. I think I want to fetch this Underground Sea, so I'm just going to expose myself to Wasteland. If I hadn't drawn Tropical Island, I may have just gone for another island, but maybe I was supposed to play island on my first turn, and then my fetch land could have gotten me anything. That was probably even more correct. I'm gonna just say I might have a claim, or not claim, Veil. Maybe I don't force a Pyroblast here. I don't know. It seems like it could be value to do so, though. I wouldn't force back a force, would I? Because if they have Fluster or Pyroblast, it's just such a bad play for me. Yeah, I think that has to just happen. So I got rid of their Dig Through Time and a negation. They're gonna just crack the Soul Guide Lantern, I assume. Yeah. I don't know. I just think the downside of getting a Force, Fluster, or Blasted there is so high. So they did have Wasteland. Is it Lelia then? Or Dak Faden? Alright, so like forcing... Well, I guess I could always Hercles Recall whatever they steal. I still don't really want to deal with the Dak. I think I want to still hold Dress Down because of its can't scripting. So I can't get Dazed here. I can get Forced here, but if my opponent has Force, then So be it, I guess. Like I said, I could have held the Hercule. So they had Force, Force, and Daze. Okay, so they had Dig, Daze, Force, Force. So are they just going to steal here? I guess I'm glad I played around Daze. It's going to get a little rough when they decide to waste something, but... So I think it's just blue-red tempo. I'm not really sure what this Soul Guide Lantern is doing. But I drew a Pio. So this is a situation where if I had kept Hercule's Recall, I could have Hercule's Recall, targeted myself, got back both my Moxen, and drawn more than one card. I think I'm just going to Pio for one. It's a little unfortunate timing on my Pio, but if their last card is Daze, so be it. Like, whatever. Okay. I'm just gonna hold this. Well, yeah, they probably shouldn't be Lavinia, so I should just, it's fine. We'll have to probably start cantripping these dress downs. I'm interested to see which one they hit with this Wasteland. We're probably going to lose this game if I had to guess, unless we draw something good. So it's a little tough when they have double force into deck. Like, I guess theoretically they might have just, yeah, I could have forced and they would have had to use, I mean, they could have just drawn into force, I guess. Then I would have gotten decked, but that wouldn't have been as bad if I had a Narset in play. I don't know. I think the threat of Flusterstorm was just too high. So, like, we still have, you know, pseudo new cards in play here with his dress downs. I want to use them at like end of turn so I could maybe draw a PO and pick them back up. This Wasteland's going to be an issue though. I do have some number. I have a repeal in my main to get back this emerald, but I wonder if I was supposed to hold Hercules over dress down. Doesn't sound right. It's kind of interesting because my opponent definitely is playing Saga, right? If they're playing a main deck Lantern, but how can they fit Wasteland, Island, Mountain, Saga? So they pitched another Force of Will and drew a Narset. That's pretty good. Okay. So they have no cards in hand. They're activating Narset. They at least dress down cantrips on their turn, so it beats Narset. Maybe I was supposed to leave this Pearl in play so that if I drew an Oko, I could kill the Dak Faden. I guess that's pretty unlikely to happen. So they drew a Lightning Bolt. Okay. Screw that plan. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that hitting the Underground Sea makes sense. All right. So my opponent has a Lightning Bolt, a Dak, and a Narset in their Island, Mountains, Soul Guide Lantern, Wasteland, triple Force of Will. Okay. I mean, I don't think this game is over. Like, if I draw a Tinker, I probably still win. I drew a PO. So unfortunately, if they just Dak targeting me, I don't want to can't cycle my dress down. I think I'm just gonna pass. I don't know. I have all cards that draw cards against an Narset, which is a classic situation. Dacking into a Narset there on an empty hand is not good for me. They hit a Pyroblast. Okay, sure. Dak targets me. I draw one. I discard. Probably just PO. And dress down. Because I want to keep this in case I draw Demonic. So they have Pyroblast and Bolt. I feel like I have to play this game out all the way, though, to make sure they have Saga or not. Because if they don't have Saga, I don't want to keep in dress down. I'm going to go check out the blue-red list, maybe. Is there a recent blue-red list? I don't know. So the biggest problem is like I can't bring in the Oath package in this matchup because they're not a creature deck, and I don't have a lot of Forbidden Orchards. So it does leave. I mean, this would be a really nice set of draws if they hadn't hit Narset. I don't know. I think we would probably win this game if they had hit anything other than Narset. Like, yeah, we have to like get through Pyroblast, but we had so much action. It just all of our action was turned off because of Narset. That's my last Underground Sea. Come on. Okay. Um, Time Walk, Scroll Ancestral. Yeah, sure. It's just a natural top deck because they're not even decking. Like I can't. I guess I can quit now because I can't get a Tinker through a Pyroblast. I guess I could still draw a Karn or whatever that does. It's a really unfortunate series of events, but that's kind of my life, yes. I had a lot of cantrips. It's just that's not good against Narset. The Jewel Shops deck? Yeah, it's kind of a wild one. It's a pretty all-in deck, and it dies to a lot of things, but it is very powerful. I've played a league with it if you haven't seen that before. Not a league, I'm going to play a challenge with it if you haven't seen that yet. I drew another dress down. Like, normally I'd be pretty happy to be drawing dress downs against Narset, except they just keep deactivating me. So I can't actually cantrip with these dress downs. But this is just a very depressing game because of restricted Magic the Gathering card, Narset Part of the Veils. It feels like a game that I would be perfectly happy continuing to play if there was just not a Narset. But yeah, it should be like called Coveted Jewel PO or something like that. I think I have to play this game to its conclusion because my opponent's playing a deck that doesn't actually win the game. It just does the thing. Oh, I should have played out. I mean, I don't even know what I can resolve through a Pirate Blast, though. All right, well, I'll play everything out next turn, and then I can resolve a Karn, right? Karn is the only thing I can resolve through a Pirate Blast. I have to resolve this Vampiric somehow as well, and my opponent has already cast Ancestral Recall. I guess my opponent is also almost at the point where they can just Pyroblast my Karn and steal it. So maybe that doesn't really work either. I guess I can, if I hit a Moxen, I could get Karn and play a Needle on deck. I don't know. I think I just have to F6 and let my opponent use their clock as they Xerox me out of this game. I'm interested to see what's in my opponent's list because they have a main deck Soul Guide Lantern and they have a Wasteland and a Mountain and an Island. So I'm confused to what that exactly means. Like there's a world where you could just play a Soul Guide Lantern in your main deck if you were just like super worried about Dredge and Breach and things. It's not unreasonable. It's a cantripping colorless artifact. Are we playing Saga? No, that card is garbage. I don't want to play that card ever again. I'm done playing Saga. I don't, even for streaming, unless there's like a really cool new deck, I would rather just not ever play Saga. I've just like lost having that card in my deck so many times that I don't want to do it anymore. I would rather just be on the other side of the Saga battle where I'm playing dress downs, killing both your creatures and cantripping, picking up my thing, also solving all the hate bear problems. It just doesn't seem like worth at all. So my opponent is taking quite a long time to make decisions. So I think we have to just, unfortunately for the content, we have to sit here and let our opponent do the thing where they do the stuff. So what's up? How's it going? Strip mine. All right. Well, that kind of ruins my Karn plan. Sure. I don't think I have a plan anymore. I can't really vamp in response to Dak either, right? Because that actually will mill through. Here's a Murktide region. Okay. So are they playing the Zoomer deck? Where they have Wastelands, Murktides, Basic Mountain, and Saga? Or unfortunately, this is just going to kill me very fast, so I don't even get to see more of their deck. Yeah, I can't even vamp because the Dak Baden's just going to push through it, right? I'm going to lose my whole hand. I don't know. I guess I'll just hold everything in my hand and lose. I'm currently not doing donation decks because I don't have enough time to play the decks that I want to play. So if at some point I decide to stream more than twice a week, you know, continuously, I will definitely be considering that, but we'll have to see. I don't even know what I'm trying to hit here. I don't think anything, right? Yeah, like if I was streaming 3 or 4 times, so they are playing Strip Mine, Wasteland, Force Saga, Basic Island, Basic Mountain, right? All right, I need to go find a Zoomer list that this got copied from. I can't even find one. That's how little people play this deck. um, oh no, their deck is not very good. It's greedy and also just bad. um, I can't even find a list. I'm trying to find a list. It also plays expressive iteration, by the way, just in case you thought there was more greed to be had. Okay, so I found the Zoomer deck list. Yeah, they've changed it up a little bit, but it's like 4 expressive iteration, 1 island, 1 mountain, 2 wasteland, 1 strip mine, 4 saga. Okay, sure. Yeah, I like it's not good. It's quite something. But I mean, it's a 4 Pyroblast deck, so and I'm gonna bring in some Flusterstorms, which is pretty good against PO. I don't know if I'm supposed to bring in push for Ragavan. I don't really want to. My deck is just like not very good against 4 Pyroblast, which is kind of always the case with PO. Like normally you can kind of play around it, but we're a little rough here. Wait, so it's actually their own version because the Zoomer deck list didn't play any Planeswalkers. The Zoomer deck list played 0 Planeswalkers, so they're playing some kind of amalgamation. I don't know. Like they're playing at least 1 Dak, 1 Narset in their 4 Saga, 2 Wasteland, 1 Strip Mine, 1 Mountain deck. I don't know. I have no idea what's on my opponent's list. I should stop speculating. It could just be any blue or red card that's ever existed. So like the only thing I'm trying to consider is like if there's any possibility to bring in Oath of Druids here. And I feel like the answer is no. I do think that like Osiris Emissary should win. If I just name creature, this should probably be winning. I'm worried about getting an Oath in play and having getting a trigger because my opponent's playing 4 Ragavan, 4 Murktide as their threat. So like they don't play Murktide until they've already won, and they like can just dash Ragavan. So I don't really have like a very good option to actually trigger my Oath of Druids. So I don't really think it's a good idea. The whole idea behind the Oath of Druids sideboard plan is to beat the decks that are already playing creatures. Saga tokens trigger Oath. You can just not make Saga tokens, though. This hand is kind of fine. I guess I get an Ancestral. And then if I hit a blue source, I can have Ancestral with Flusterstorm. I mean, it's a pretty good hand against like a blue-red deck, so. I'm just gonna get an Ancestral, and we're gonna hope to draw a blue source. Yeah, like I don't think it's unreasonable for like Oath to be good against blue-red, but I think you have to play 4 Forbidden Orchards for that to be true. So like I just chose not to play any Forbidden Orchards in my main to not give away that I'm like doing the sideboard thing, but I mean that could be wrong too. I of course did not draw a blue source, so I mean they're obviously holding up something. I can't really resolve any of these spells, so I guess I just pass. Look for like an end step repeal. They might, if they have a fluster, they're probably gonna bait with a crack here. Yeah, I guess I have to let that just happen. Yeah, I really did need to draw a land on that turn. They have what? A braid? What? I guess I'm overdrawing no matter what, but I think I'm just gonna repeal this. I guess it's not overdrawing. So yeah, I mean this like is insane for me. I don't know what they're doing. Like I guess they can force this, in which case I do lose a ruby and a repeal, but I don't know. That seems really good for me. They can't daze me because I floated. This is a very aggressive upgrade. All right. I mean, this is a terrible draw. But I guess I'm happy I don't draw it next turn, so. So if my opponent just jams like an Arset here, I lose, right? Fuck me, dude. I don't know. This is so sad. My opponent's 2 Moxen deck played a turn 2 Narset. And they revealed Dak Faded. Okay, yeah. My deck just does not beat Narset. I have to get the Oko, I guess. Well, I can just go get Tinker and hope that I... Yeah, I can just get Tinker. No, I really wish I hadn't gotten Ancestral. If I had gotten Force of Will instead of Ancestral, I'd be such a better place. I guess I can get Daze now. Of course, my opponent who's playing Daze in their Urza Saga Wasteland Strip Mine deck is like... what's a guy to do? But... I think I just have to go for Tinker and try to win, right? I'm gonna get forced, is the whole problem here, though. Like, assuredly, I'm getting forced. These hands are just too much. Maybe I was just supposed to play Narset this turn. Yeah, I mean, we could have just played Narset, but I didn't really want to play Ruby into their active Dak Faded, and I didn't want to lose my Underground Sea to a Wasteland and not get the Demonic Tutor. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're getting high rolled extremely hard. Like, these are the good cards in my opponent's deck, and they're being able to cast them ahead of curve. They have a Null Rod. Interesting. Why would you put Null Rod in your deck when you're guaranteed to draw one of your 2 Moxen? Doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Oh, Dak Fading came in. Are they going to Dak me, or are you going to Dak yourself? All right, so here's the thing. If I can draw a land or a Mox and they're decking me, they're giving me an extra free look. Crazy. Wild. All right. I mean, works for me. I mean, that was like the best possible thing that could have happened to me, right? I guess they could go like Black Lotus, Null Rod here, and then I will be sad again, but surgically extract my paradoxical outcomes. Sure. What is going on? They have surgical extraction in their deck. That is not a card you can remotely bring in against PO. PO is a deck of almost entirely one-ofs. The only four-ofs are PO and Forcible. Losing to this is not an ideal scenario, but this is where we're at in life. So my opponent does have an open mana, but one of their cards is Null Rods. They only have 3 remaining cards. They didn't DAC themselves to get better cards. They DAC'd me to give me an extra look. So, it's such a good draw. Okay. I'm gonna get Mind Break trapped. I'm gonna get Mind Break trapped. Okay, I think we should be good. Like, obviously we could get our Citadel DAC'd if we brick, but again, like these are risks that I have to take, I think. If we get our Citadel DAC, that would be a nice way to cap off this round, I would think. I would say. So this is the point where having a Sphinx of the Steel Wind in our deck would be correct, but I don't really have a lot of faith in Sphinx of the Steel Wind anymore. There's like not a lot of bug gamers. It doesn't actually beat workshops all the time because there's a lot of serpents net right now. All right, well, I'm putting a Citadel in play. I bricked immediately. I'm gonna put an Narset in, which is gonna unbrick me. At least if they daze me, I can pay 5 and unbrick myself. All right, they have a Force in their hand, and they didn't force Tinker? They had a Force and a Mental Misstep in their hand, and they did not force Tinker. Okay. I mean, this is good for me. My opponent is making very interesting decisions. Boarding and Surgical. Casting spells at weird times. Well, they knew my hand. They knew my hand. So they had Surgical me, so they did know my hand. They did know I had a Flusterstorm. But I just don't understand why you would force now then. Wouldn't you just hold it forever? Like, you know I have a Flusterstorm. Well, now, I guess now you force because I'm capped out. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So now it all comes to... That makes a lot of sense, I think. Am I missing anything? They knew I had a Fluster. They couldn't beat my Tinker Fluster, but now they can beat my Narset. But the problem is, like, the only way I would play a Narset is if I brick on top, and the only way I can brick on top is if I have a Fluster or a Force, because it wouldn't be a land drop. So I think it's actually... I don't know if it's correct to even force the Narset. Right? Like, if I play a Narset here, it means I have to have a counter on top. Oh, that's a really good hit. Okay. I'm at 9. I have a Force. They have a Null Rod. I want to keep going. I think... Oh, I can Needle DAC is the best part about this. So that way I don't get my Citadel stolen. Guess I should just do that to start. They also pitched their Mental Misstep to Force of Will, by the way. So they only have one other card besides Null Rod. We should be winning this game. I don't think we should have won this game, but we should be winning this game. All right, I'm willing to go to 7 to cast Dress Down. And then this doesn't draw a card. I cast top and go to 6. Cast island lets me play Flusterstorm. And then I think it's still correct. Well, they could draw Lightning Bolt. I think I'm going to leave Narset at 5. I might leave Narset at 5. This way I have Force and Fluster, and my Narset can't be bolted, and I can start pushing towards... After they Null Rod me... Well, Null Rod has to get forced. Yeah, I mean... I can just force a Pyro. Okay, now I have double Fluster. Okay, I like this. This is good. Okay, I'm going to leave everything now as is. This is a good spot, I think. Next turn I can Lattice them as long as I don't allow Null Rod to resolve. All right, so we won this game, which I have to feel that if my opponent had a real Magic card besides Surgical Extraction, they would have won, or even just deck themselves. Force of Will, pitching Ancestral Recall, a classic. Now, do they have a Pyro, which I match? That's not true. I have Yawgmoth's Will, Bolus's Citadel, which is a traditional PO win con. You PO through your deck, you play your 10 artifacts, you sack them, and then you rebuy them all. I should probably... It doesn't actually matter if my Lattice gets countered, right? I guess you can get dazed. They have Force. Force blue card, okay. So it's going to take additional time now. Do I still play around a top deck Lightning Bolt? Probably. No, because I wouldn't enforce back. If anything, I should have just passed the turn. I have a Narset, so unless this is a Murktide Regent, I guess I lose the Murktide Regent. Wow. Okay, I guess I'm gonna lose this game. Fuck. My opponent's really good at Magic. Okay. So yeah, I can't beat that. I have to combo kill them through a Narset somehow. All right, I guess I lost. I guess I played badly. What could I have done differently? I'm so... I have to combo kill them with Citadel. That's just ridiculous. They drew blue card Force and then they top decked Radiant. And they didn't draw any, like, of the garbage lands. I can't draw with my top either. I don't think I can win this game. I have to get really lucky. That's a terrible card to have on top. So I could stand up Citadel and attack Narset, but this thing's a 7/7. All right, so I play this. I have Time Walk is a start. I think I have to... I need a Time Walk and an Oko. So I guess I play Time Walk, go to 1, and then I have to find... No, Oko doesn't actually stop this in any meaningful way. I can't kill this Narset because my repeal has been... Okay, I could get a Yawgwill and I can repeal the Narset, but then I can't activate Citadel twice. What the hell? What can I do? No, Oko makes this thing a 7/7 still, right? How many counters does it have? Yeah, it's just a 7/7. Oh, I can at least block it, is what you're saying. That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna cast Time Walk. I can't cast Vampiric now, though. And then I'm clear the top with Narset and spin with top. It doesn't fly if we turn it into an elk. I guess I could dress down it as well. Should I just draw this dress down? Or should I can still fetch. I guess I should just draw the dress down. Draw dress down. I have tons of mana, right? So let's spin. If there's nothing there, I can fetch still. It's a good one. Spin. I still have a Narset to get rid of this top 3. I guess I'd like to have this in my hand. Okay. Spin. Can't cast those. I can't activate anymore. So now I'm in trouble. At least I can cycle this next turn. So here I have to stand up. Oh, I should probably have not tapped my Soul Ring so I could stand up my Soul Ring. Or I can stand up my top. Then I can't block and activate, right? Because this will lose the ability. Oh no, I can't do that because there's a Narset in play. I shouldn't have listened to chat. That was my bad. That was a bad play. That might actually lose me the game, actually. If I dress this thing down, it's still a 7/7, right? Because if creatures lose all abilities. I did it because I read chat and I thought he was right, but he was wrong. So now I have to either chump with the Citadel or the Needle. All right, whatever. Yeah, I mean, this game is like fucked. Yeah, I shouldn't have listened to chat. I know. We could have thrown away our top. I mean, we don't want to throw away our top. The thing I wanted to throw away was the Soul Ring, but I'm bad, and I should have thrown away the Soul Ring. But I just tapped the Soul Ring because it's the colorless mana. This game is hella tilting. But it is what it is. I don't really know. Like, I needed to hit a Yogwell, and I just haven't hit a Yogwell. And now I only have one extra look for a Yogwell, right? Well, no, I could buy back. No, I can't buy back anything. I don't know. Losing to this deck is so frustrating because my opponent played abysmally. And I guess I played pretty bad, too. Okay, so this gets cycled. It doesn't actually get cycled because there's still an Narset in play. I guess I get to look at what their card is. I can stand up my top. No, I have to draw dress down, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't have anything in my sideboard to get besides a Tormod's Grip, which I don't want to use. So I have to hit like Yagwell off of a spin, right? That's all I have. And I missed. So I think I played this game poorly, but I don't think I played it like that badly. Oh, wait, they attacked. I can actually kill the Narset now. I don't think that matters though, because I don't have any draw spells. Because I'm still out of action. I could have drawn an extra card if I had attacked with the Soul Ring first, so that would have helped. Yeah, yeah, we're just playing terribly. It's fine. We're obviously on full tilt, so yeah, I have no follow up. So if this card underneath the Soul Ring was a PO, I would have won the game, but I chose not to. Wouldn't it? It doesn't. Yeah, sure. I mean, I have infinite mana. I have a Twilight Academy in play. It does not really matter. Yeah, no, I lost the game. I fucked up. So if one card deeper was, well, I mean, I also drew with that top before. I need to see what card underneath these three. Another top. So I mean, I might not have won anyways, but yeah, I played that game abysmally, but it's like super frustrating because this is probably the only card they could possibly draw. I guess if they had drawn like a Braid and stolen my Citadel, I would have lost as well, but I can't cast Vamp. I'm at 1 life, chat. I can't. Chat has hit me with a lot of "you're really bad," but also a lot of deadlines. So I don't really want to hear it right now. Oh, you're right. I have no POs in my deck. You're right. I had all my POs were surgical. I would have to draw Yagwell. Actually, Yagwell doesn't really. All right, whatever. I don't know. The game was super weird. I don't think I played very well, obviously. So, all right, here we go. Round 2. See if we can play a little bit better than last time. Yeah, this is a Dinker hand. I mean, I could have stood up anything on that turn. My opponent had mulligan to 3. Wow. Okay. We'll go back. We'll go back and we'll watch it. We'll figure out what we had to do. It was a very unintuitive game where I had to do a lot of things that didn't make, that aren't normal. So it happens. I think I'm just going to hold all of this. My opponent's at 3 cards in hand. We'll see what they're on. They just conceded. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to make content here, but I don't know if they just had no playable hands. Like, Ian is not really a bizarre player. Ian plays like Jund. I mean, Ian already knows what I'm playing. I'm sure Ian was hanging out. Like, if I had to pre-board versus Ian, I would probably board in like Fatal Push or something, but I don't know. I can't really make that decision. I think I can board out Hurkyl's Recall. Maybe I'll put in a push for Hurkyl's Recall. Like, if I had to guess in the blind what Ian was playing, I would say he's playing Jund. But I don't know, like, how could you ever mold a 3? You just had no playable hands from 7 to 3. And then you kept like a skeptical 3 that needed a land drop and you missed, I assume, maybe. Yeah. After we play this round, we'll go back and we'll do a recording section on what happened in game 1, see what we can figure out. Because obviously, I feel like there was lines to be had that would have got us to victory. This is an interesting hand of Magic the Gathering cards. I think I'm going to keep it. I mean, it's 1 PO away from being the nuts, right? I mean, they are probably on a Collector Roof deck, but we don't know that yet. Uh-oh. That's got to be the worst thing I could possibly have seen. Brainstorm. Okay, so maybe just a blue deck then. I have a lot of jewelry here. It's an expensive hand. Yeah, I wouldn't say they're on dredge. I think they just had like a really bad mulligan section and then didn't feel like playing it out, I guess, because they already knew what I was playing, so it's better to not show me what they're playing than I mean the game was going to be over after turn 1. Like I was just gonna vamp for Tinker with force backup. Ian just said I hate this deck so much, which means they must have bricked on their brainstorm. They went Black Lotus, brainstorm, play Wasteland. I don't even have a land. I'm just gonna play everything that's not Mana Crypt, and I'm gonna pass. I don't really think playing Time Walk makes sense here. They have Wasteland. Okay, sure. These are the kind of draws I expected my first round opponent to have with their deck. Okay. I think I'm going to Time Walk this time. Well, I'll have you know, when I draw my PO, it will be great. I know that normal players... Okay, sure. I think there's no reason to cast this on my turn and play into like a possible negation. That just resolves. Okay. uh... Okay. Um... 4, 6, 9, 5, and 6 is 11. So I can't. I mean, I just should jam it. Don't feel like it makes any sense to play. I can always just kill the script next turn. Oh, all right. Well, they're dead. Incredible Magic the Gathering has happened in this game. That's for sure. Who needs lands anyways, I guess? Holy hell. Okay, well, I'm gonna go figure out what happened in round 1. Oh my lord. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go back into round 1 to the point where I tinkered, and we'll try to figure out what I did wrong so that we can learn from my mistakes, I guess. So we tinkered for a Citadel, immediately bricked, which is fine because we have a Narset. My opponent has a Null Rod and 3 unknowns. 2 of their unknowns turn out to be blue card Force of Will. So that leaves them with Null Rod, 1 unknown. All right, so yep, I force off the top. Narset resolves. I play Soul Ring. This is fine. I can speed this up. I can speed this up, right? Yo, thank you, Schultz. Appreciate that. Big shout out. Thank you. No problem. All right, so I force here. Soul Ring happens. My opponent okay. Soul Ring, Dress Down. Obviously, Dress Down doesn't draw me a card, but I want to cycle through it at 9. That's still fine. They surgical PO for whatever reason. It actually ended up being kind of annoying, but I never actually ended up killing the Narset, so this gets a Needle, which has to get Needle on Dak. I'm happy with how we played so far. They just fetch so they don't get this Needled, even though I'm always needling Dak here. I think you should leave that fetch in play, so like it baits me into not naming Dak when then you can just Dak the Citadel and win. This just gets cast, obviously. This gets cast, and this gets played, and then I have to choose whether or not to Narset. And the thought process is, if I activate my Narset, I will have my Narset exposed to Lightning Bolt, which we know my opponent plays. I could have attacked Narset with Citadel on this turn. No, this is the turn I tinkered. So my Citadel is summoning sick. So that is not true. Next turn, we can do that. Not this turn. Next turn. All of my artifacts are currently summoning sick. You have the right idea, though. You have the right idea where I messed up, for sure. Though maybe drawing cards isn't actually a huge deal because I don't have any POs in my deck to even draw 2, so... All right, so I think the idea of not activating Narset here makes sense, especially because I have a spin, and my spin is showing me second Fluster. So that covers like a variety of things my opponent can do to protect this Null Rod, which I think is just fine. Like I protect with Fluster, and I can get my next land on my next turn, and I think this is super fine. Like I force this Null Rod, which I'm definitely supposed to force Null Rod, because Null Rod is stopping me from playing my Lattice for the win. So what happens here is my opponent's last card in hand with the Null Rod on the previous turn was either a blue card or a force, and then they top decked either a blue card or a force. Which I didn't expect, and I probably just should have. Wait, no, so what I should have done here... Oh, I see, this is the big... Oh, no, okay, so here's the game-losing play. Here's the actual game-losing play. At the end of this turn, I am supposed... Why did I pitch Recall? Because there's a Narset in play, and I didn't think about activating. Like I'm thinking about Lattice locking. No. Here no. Right here, chat. All you need to do is you spin the land to the top and leave. No, it doesn't work because the land's a fetch. They're both fetches. I thought we could maybe spin the Flusterstorm on top. That's not the case. Okay, never mind. I thought I had a good out there. So instead, I could have held her Ancestral. Or maybe I was just supposed to Narset and try to find a Moxen. I just didn't think about them having a force here. So yeah, I could have Narsetted and tried to find a Moxen. That's probably an even better one. Yeah, I think I should Narset and try to find a Moxen so that I can play with Flusterstorm back up. I think playing the Lattice here is the best play because it makes them lose immediately. The problem is they had drawn blue card force. So let's see the rest of this turn. So I don't really even hate the idea of slamming Narset. Like, we could have done a different line where we stood up an attacker, attacked Narset, and had the Ancestral in our hand. That is definitely a line we could have taken. I was just hell-bent on playing the Lattice because it would have won us the game. So they top decked they took that Murktide, which is obviously the worst possible thing. Well, there wasn't any way for me to beat a force if like I just it is tunnel vision, but it's also like, do you really expect them to have force after going down to like you know that one of the cards in their hand was Null Rod. So their last two cards have to be exactly blue card, and they have to have top decked force. Or they had to have a force and they top decked blue card. So like, if they had a Dig Through Time, a force, and another card in their hand. Wait, what was the card that they pitched with force? Dig Through Time. So they kept a Dig Through Time and they top decked a force. Because they would never have kept Force of Will as their last card. They would have kept Dig Through Time. So they just top decked a force on me, basically, right? Which is unfortunate, but... So let's see. Let's just see if I would have gotten to hit a Moxen, I guess is the next question. If I had hit Time Walk, could I have cast Time Walk instead? Yeah. Could have just cast Time Walk instead. I think I would have won this game if I had just not cast Lattice. All right, so that's the first thing. I think we just tunnel visioned and missed the Force of Will. Like second Force of Will, which they top decked. There wasn't a spin for Fluster, but I could have done other things like keep Ancestral. I don't know. Like they have two unknowns, and I don't expect like they could be. I guess if it was Bolt, then I would be able to beat it with the Fluster I drew for turn. So I guess that's fine. All right, so now let's try to win the game from this point. I don't have POs in my deck, so unlocking Narset is not as good as I think it is. I kind of forgot that I didn't have POs in my deck because getting Surgical is not something that happens very often. By that I mean ever. So how can I win this game? The only way I can win this game is to sack 10 things and bring them all back. That is the single only way I can win the game. Ways that I don't lose the game are turn the Regent into an Elk and chump block it with Karn tokens. So am I supposed to cast this Time Walk? Is the first thing that I did wrong, right? Because I could instead... I can't draw a card. So no? So yes? So I cast Time Walk, but then casting Time Walk... Well, the good news is I didn't like... I could have Narset it into this Time Walk, but that seems like a dumb choice. Like, okay, so yeah. So I do that, which makes sense to me. And I get Sapphire because nothing else is playable. I could have spun before walking. I don't know if I have like infinite mana to use, but maybe I do. I could have spun and saw a vamp. What would I vamp for though? I could have vamped down to 1. And I could have vamped for Yogwill, but the Yogwill is not actually lethal because... Hold on. Let's hold on. So if I had instead spun here, then I wouldn't be able to fetch. I would have, if I spun, cast Vamp, gone to 1, I would have 1 mana, 1 mana, 1 mana, 2 mana left over, casting Yogwill. Brings back Lotus, Ruby. So the problem with that is I just don't have enough mana. I could always activate Narset, but it doesn't really make sense to activate Narset until I have to, because I know I can't draw with my top because of Narset, their Narset. So if I do that, I have 2 mana left over, 3 mana, 4 mana, or sorry, 3 mana, 6 mana. Demonic for... I don't think there's a reasonable demonic. Well, I can demonic for Oko. The problem is if I use my Yogwill, I can't win. Because I can't activate Citadel twice. I guess I could maybe kill them with Elks? So I go to 1. I have blue, black, ruby, lotus. I demonic for Oko. I stand up a soul ring. No, I can't use the soul ring. Recasting lattice means I still die. You can attack with creatures when they're lattice locked. So I don't win a lattice lock on this current board state. Lattice lock doesn't stop attacking. What other vamp targets are there? Don't really have any, right? The cards that matter in my deck are Yogwill and Oko. Are the only cards that matter in my deck, and Dress Down. So I don't, even if I had spun, I don't think there's a vamp line that works. The repeal is in my yard, and I don't have enough mana to repeal for 9. 10? How much does this thing cost? 8. 8. Okay, so this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Spin again. Dress Down. I want to keep this Dress Down. because it gives me a turn. This is like fine, right? And then what? Maybe this game wasn't actually winnable from the point that I got to. Maybe the point where I just cast Lattice was the single point of failure. Trying to figure out if this game was winnable from this turn, and I just don't know if it is. So this fetches, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was great draws, because now I have a point where I have about infinite mana, but I brick again. So I have to clear with Narset, which I do. And I brick again. But the whole point here is I should not have ever tapped Soul Ring. Like, back at the point where I tapped Soul Ring, it made sense. Right? Because I didn't have infinite mana. Not exactly. When did I tap Soul Ring? No, this is a different turn. Turn 7. Yeah, turn 6. Turn 7. I tapped Soul Ring at the very beginning. No, I mean, I have an Emerald. I should have tapped the Emerald. So I don't think... It's weird that I remembered that I saw that Dress Down bought me a turn, but I didn't see, like, I needed to stand up Soul Ring, right? Because if I stand up top and then I Dress Down top, I can't activate it, right? True or not true? I believe that should be a true statement. I mean, I could just lose my top, but my top is good. Oh, I did need the Emerald for Oko. So then I should use the Sapphire. Okay. Well, Citadel let me see the top card and play Moxen off the top. It's not that it does nothing. It's not nothing. At 1 life, it's definitely not nothing. Okay, so then I brick again. And I have to clear with Narset. And then I brick again, right? Which is fine. So now I have to... I can't ever stand up Dak. Maybe I can't ever set up Needle, or they take Citadel. I guess I could stand up Citadel, which what I did. Obviously, I can't activate top and draw Probe here. That was just a blip. I shouldn't have done that. So, but we looked 2 cards deep, and I wasn't going to hit anything, right? So it didn't actually matter. So I think the game is lost from this point. I think the game is just lost from this point. Which is interesting. I really didn't think this was like a lost position. Like, at any point, we could draw Yogwill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 off of Dress Down. So at any point here, if our top had spun a Yogwill... No, that's not exactly true. That's not exactly true, because we would have to draw into it somehow. And we couldn't draw because of Narset. Okay, so I should have gone 1 deeper than I had with my top. So, yeah, I should have gone 1 deeper. So, yeah, obviously that does nothing. So when I spin this top, I should see 1 deeper after, which was what? The 4th card was a Ponder. That doesn't draw anything. Okay, so this is still lost, which is good. That's good to know. That makes me feel like a little bit better. Makes me feel like a small amount better. So the real thing that we learned here was this tunnel vision on Lattice when it's possible that my opponent top decked exactly Force of Will. That was the biggest mistake here. Oh, well, there was also, I could have pitched Ancestral, I could have pitched Flusterstorm and stood up and attacked Narset so that I could have drawn with Ancestral. It just, drawing with Ancestral was not something I considered needing to do because I was going to beat them with Lattice. But I have a second Fluster, so there's really no reason for me to keep this Fluster. Unless they were to, like, go untap Bolts, I need to Fluster twice. It's kind of interesting that, well, why didn't they force back on the Null Rod? Did they know I had this fluster? Yes, they knew I had this fluster from the surgical. Okay. That's the second time they knew I had the fluster and I never cast it, right? Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Well, yeah, if I ever get Lattice in play, then I'm going to win. But it's just this turn, I think, when I decide to go fetch Lattice, that I had other choices. Well, what are my other choices? Spinning and not casting. Well, okay, the what I probably needed to do was Narset and see if I could hit a Moxen so I could hold up Fluster. It's not spinning. It's not spinning. No, I don't think attacking Narset is correct. I think trying to resolve Lattice is correct. I'm only at 4 life. It's not like giving me more cards is actually good. Yeah, so the biggest thing was I was not playing around Force of Will by activating Narset to find a Moxen. And we have no idea if there were Moxen, right? There weren't Moxen, but we would have gotten Time Walk, which might have won. So yeah, we would have gotten Time Walk or Vamp, which probably would have won. Yes, obviously, if we had an Ancestral in our hand, there was the option to stand up and attack Narset, but then you can't Lattice Lock that turn. And I think Lattice Lock is the most important thing. But like I said, okay, this is like one of the harder parts of playing a Paradoxical Outcome deck where you forgo traditional win conditions. This deck obviously has Yogg-Will Citadel and Karn Lattice, as well as like some weird Oko things. But yeah, there wasn't really a downside to not Narsetting. We should definitely have Narsetted, and that would have it would probably have won the game. So yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a good review for sure. Definitely figured out some things there. It's good. It does feel better. It does make me feel better that after the point in which we played the Lattice, I don't think it was possible to win the game, which is nice because we were like sitting there like a fish trying to figure out how to beat the Murktide Regent. And there were ways we could have beat the Murktide Regent, but they involved hitting certain things, right? So. What? All right, welcome back. We are now in round 3 of this prelim, currently 1-1 after probably punting away what was round 1, but then doing some demolishing in round 2. We still would have had to play a game 3 in round 1, so who knows? There were kayaks. I mean, it could be like a lake or a river, you know. What can you do sleeping in a tent inland? You can drink and be outdoors and go climbing. Well, I mean, you don't really do much camping anyways, right? Like you do outdoor things. I'm so confused. Do Europeans not camp places where there's not water? That's what I mean. That's my question. All right, well, we're moving past that. This hand's nice, especially against Crazy Diamond, who usually plays like Breach style decks. You don't do anything outdoors. You just you hike and you nature and you sit around a campfire and you drink and you eat, right? I don't know. What is Crazy doing? He came back. Anyways, this hand is like 1 Moxen away from being quite good. I have PO, I have Fluster, I have Force, I have almost the mana I need to do some PO things, so pretty happy with this. As long as Crazy shows up to battle, we'll be good. Like I said, the last Crazy deck I saw was a Breach deck. Let's go take a look at it while we wait. Yes. So last The last time I saw Crazy was 109 is a little... Whoa. All right, that was not the last deck I saw Crazy play, but this is the kind of deck that Crazy does play. Tinker, Breach, things. So... All right, keep. I sure hope there's no Lavinias. That would be not very, very nice to me. All right, Underground Sea. And what? Underground Sea hopefully means no Lavinia. my deck can actually beat Lavinia though, because I have a bunch of Dress Down, which is nice. Dress Down solves a lot of this deck's problems. All right, so my opponent has taken a look at my hand for free. Always a powerful play. Now they can jam their Tinker with Force Backup. I didn't mean it. Please don't do that. Oh, no. Okay. Oof, that was a close call. I got a little scared there. All right, so we got a pretty solid start, though. Yeah, I mean, Crazy plays all kinds of Tinker decks. Has a pretty wide range inside of Tinker, but most of the time it's like Tinker Breach, Tinker Scalds, Tinker PO, something with Tinker. Obviously, Soul Ring, Underground Sea also screams Tinker. My opponent's hand looks like it might be, I don't know, it's pretty comparable to mine. I would really love to see a Moxen from our side here so I can hold open. Oh, nice draw. Very nice draw. So they know my whole hand, even because I'm going to play this Sapphire. So now I have PO up on line, and I get to hold up Force Fluster for their turn. A good place to be. They know my hand again, so it's a little dicey. We'll have to see what their plays are. This is just Demonic Tutor. Ooh, Night's Whisper, nice. Can't counter that because they don't have enough. They have enough floating mana. Opal. It's a cool looking opal. Well, I mean, I think my opponent's like in a much better spot than we are. I wouldn't really say we're whitelisted at this point. Have you considered registering a Pyroblast before Slasher? That might help. You could even register Jeskai Slasher. Then you can't lose the Force of Vigor and you beat PO. Seems free. Definitely not going to cast a PO into this open mana, especially if they like respond with a PO of their own. Like Opal really suggests we're playing a mirror. It would be pretty bad for us to play into a PO, like play an Endostorm PO there. Another Moxen is our perfect draw for us. Just board 15 cards. Come on. It's Dredge. Everyone knows you have to play 15 sideboard cards. Interesting. So we're just going to have to wait still. Let's see if we can find an opening. That's not exactly true. Like most vintage decks are between 500 and 800 tickets. And you could always like get staples and rent the rest. There's a lot of ways to go about it. But it's cheaper than playing like Legacy or Modern, so. Ancestral Recall is quite a good draw for my opponent. They do have hard cast Force. I think what I'm going to do is PO in response. Yeah, I own all the cards that I play with just because, I mean, I stream and I've also won lots of Magic the Gathering events to the point where I can, like, I think I only put $500 into Magic Online a couple years ago, and obviously it's returned more than that. My opponent knows I have Force Fluster, so the fact that this is happening, I see. I see. Well, the good news is that I can still fluster their Ancestral. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. I could always put like... Man, if their last card is a fluster, I guess that's fine. I don't really want to pitch Ponder at this point because I do need to rebuild somehow. They know these 3 cards, but I don't want to force this Hercules. I guess I can just force this Ancestral and see what happens. They have an active top and a fetch land. It's really bad for me. The problem here is if I force pitching Force on Ancestral, all they have to do is just let it happen and then find a PO and kill me. I think I'm just going to fluster this Ancestral. They can't pay for it. They only have 3 mana. I was thinking maybe I would put 1 on the Hercules. I don't know. I feel really disadvantaged here. My opponent just has more artifact mana than I do, and they have a way to find more action. The PO Mirror is kind of just like that, though. It's pretty rough that they had like a pseudo counter spell in Hercules Recall. I guess theoretically I could force pitching Force on this Hercules Recall, in which case I would get to draw 2 cards anyways. It's kind of an interesting idea. My opponent could like tinker me, but I have to do something. Nah, seems bad. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to let it get countered. They get to spin here with fetch land, 2 cards in hand. We do get to replay and have hardcast Force of Will up, I guess. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's good to turn 2 Force into 2 unknowns, but like if my 2 unknowns are PO Moxen, it's good to turn Force into that. So they did fetch, and now they have follow-up spin, trying to find a fluster probably. Kind of an interesting game. I wonder what my best draw is. So we would have drawn into another PO. Interesting. So again, this doesn't really look like a good spot to play PO. I think I would rather hold up Hardcast Force plus Force, even though they have an active top. Like if they untap here and go PO and I go Hardcast Force, or I can go Alt Cast Force. I can go either actually. No, I think this Ponder has to be used for Force. Okay, so they're vamping. I assume this is getting either a Tinker or a Fluster, and then we should win by doing Force. But then they're still left with... They'll lose their top. Oh, they won't lose their top. Maybe I fought over this the wrong way. I can still, off of any Moxen, play PO. No, I kind of like this. This looks like Tinker with Fluster back up to me, which means they had a Fluster in their hand the whole time. Or maybe I'm just getting baited. I don't know. This seems fine, though. Like, getting a Hardcast Force seems like perfect value here. All they know now is Ponder. So, yeah, Force, pitch, Force. So now the question is... So I perfectly played this. The question is, do we keep Ponder or PO? Any mana source lets us PO. I think we just keep PO. I do have to hit a mana source, but my opponent is on top deck's top, and I need to draw Moxen or land. At your Ancestral. It's pretty good too. And then I bricked after that. Well, this hits top, so I'm going to win. So I'm just going to Demonic for Tinker. And then yeah, this is just winning. Yeah, Demonic for Tinker, Mental Misstep there. Their top, and then Tinker for Citadel. And I have a top, so. Yeah, I'll take that. I feel like we played this game very well, but maybe there were some slight inaccuracies. Felt like a pretty good game to me, though. I have played a few few PO mirrors in my lifetime. I assume they're on PO. We didn't. Yeah. They cast a PO. Okay. Or they didn't cast a PO. They pitched a PO. Not bad. Not bad. So in the PO mirror, we're just gonna bring in Flusterstorm, and none of these other cards are very good. Like Hercules is fine. We didn't see Saga, but they could still be playing Saga. I think I'm just gonna keep one. I'm gonna change one dress down for a Fluster, and no, that's not true. I'm just gonna board out an island. Yeah, I'm just gonna board an island for a Fluster. Is Oko good versus PO? Not particularly. It's okay. It has some tech, but it's not like the end. It's not like a great card, I would say. But I think the worst card in my deck is Island. You don't need 13 lands to play PO. PO functions on 11 and 12 lands. The only reason you play 13 lands is because Workshops exists. So you can board an island out, bring in an extra counter spell. Keeps our one of Hercules as well, which is sometimes helpful. Well, Dress Down is a much better card if they're playing Saga. If they're not playing Saga, oh wow, this hand's great. I'm gonna snap keep this hand. This hand is turn 1 Narset with Force Fluster back up. And if I don't want to do that, I can still do if I draw like a Mana Crypt, I can even play a Citadel if I wanted to. This hand's super good in the PO mirror. They could obviously have like Tinker Fluster back up, but I'm like always snap keeping this hand for a PO mirror. So far we played 3 matches, and none of our matches we would have boarded in the Oath plan, which is good news because it means we wouldn't because we didn't want to main deck the Oath plan. So I'm pretty happy with the idea of playing a PO deck with Oath in the sideboard if this is what's going to happen. My opponent does have turn 1 Sedgemoor Witch. Wow. Okay. I have to counter that because my Narset is really bad against that card. I'm going to force it. I mean, I'm still in a great spot, but definitely kind of a brutal one. Oh, should we just go for the Citadel with the Lotus? Not this turn, obviously, but it would be next turn. No, I think playing a Narset is the best play. This plays into Mindbreak Trap. I guess all of them play into my... trying to figure out if I'm supposed to play this Soul Ring or not. Plays into Mindbreak Trap. And Mental Misstep. I'm just going to play the Narset without the Soul Ring. Probe, Sapphire, Demonic. Probably just Sapphire, play Soul Ring. I guess we could take Demonic and hope to draw. What do we even want, though? No, I think this is fine. I think we just take Sapphire and go Sapphire, Soul Ring, pass with Flusterstorm Narset, and then work our way towards a Citadel. To play a Citadel, we either need to have CC Opal or C Jet Opal. A second Witch is really good. Holy shit. Okay, well, that is definitely the best thing they could have played there. So if my opponent had cast Mental Misstep on my Soul Ring, then I wouldn't have been able to play Narset with Flusterstorm back up. And if I had played Soul Ring, then my Narset is exposed to Mindbreak Trap. So all of those reasons. So this is really bad. It solves the Narset problem. Well, there's just like no reason to play into cards that you could lose to. All right. So, and here getting Sapphire is great because we can now take PO and go for the PO. I don't think going for Karn is good because they have an active Witch. Like, Narset Karn would normally knock out the opposing PO deck, but because they're playing Witch, it's actually been really, really good for them. This card is incredibly underplayed in Vintage. It's very, very good, and I like it in the PO deck. It just, like, it solves the issue that I had. Like, I couldn't kill a Narset. I couldn't kill a Karn. No, Witch is much better than Hull Breacher here. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to get flustered, so I'm gonna play another land. I'm gonna get Underground Sea. I think maybe I want to pick it up during attacks. Nah, I'm gonna pick it up now. All right, this game is very over. How do I want to win? I think I just want to PO again, and then all I need to do is hit. I don't think they have anything at this point, so I think we just want to cast PO again. And then if I cast Yogwill, I'm actually short on POing again. So I'm just going to get a Force of Will. All right, I should be pretty good now. So yeah, there are some draws they could have, I think, here, but this I'm gonna untap and I'm gonna PO again, and then I'm gonna Yogwill and PO 3 times. So, which is much better than Young Pyromancer, and it costs basically the same amount when you're playing a PO deck with all this off-color mana. Which is not better than Mentor. No, there are not very many creatures in Magic that are better than Mentor. If you have white mana, you should be playing Mentor, but I assume my opponent is only playing blue-black lands. So my opponent could technically have drawn Flusterstorm here, but I don't know, whatever, who cares? If they fluster this, I can go Lotus, Rainforest, PO again. 4 mana. PO their own PO. Yeah, okay. So I think I would rather just use Force than spend a blue mana. All right, now we just PO a bunch. All right, that's very game. Sweet. All right. So in this situation, what we do is we get 10 permanents in play, sack them all to Bolas's Citadel, Yogwill them all back, and sack them all to Bolas's Citadel. And that will deal 20 damage to our opponent, and we will win. Because we're going to draw through our whole deck. I think we should be able to get 10 permanents in play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe not. I might have to do some other things here. I guess. I wonder if we can actually win from here. Wait, we have an Oko, right? I'm a little concerned. Well, no, we have like infinite mana, right? Because we have Hurkyl's Recall on Academy. Yeah. So we can just do that. Which was not better than Hullbreaker there. I was being facetious. So yeah, so we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sack Yogwill. Yeah, we should. Oh, okay. So we have exactly enough here. It's kind of cool. Yeah, GG's crazy. What was your line in game one? I don't remember. We can go back and look though if you want. I feel like I feel like I kind of ran circles around you in game one. I'm not exactly sure. I played a very, what would the word be? Cautious or conservative game. Let's go back and look if you want. Second force for Tinker. Yeah, let's go look at it. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this and then this. It was an interesting battle because you had the top to find good cards, but I had like a plethora of counter magic. Even you had like a little bit more mana to work with. Yeah, let's go see. So where are you? You're here. So okay, so which sequence do you want to look at? You knew most of my hand for the most of the game, right? Because you probed, so you knew this 7. Let me just snip this so I know which cards you knew. So you knew this 7 from probe. And then you knew my first card because I played Sapphire. So you have perfect information up until now and still through now. And then you did you cast Night's Whisper. You didn't know I drew Second Force. Obviously, that's the unknown card. That's the only card you didn't know about. So you jammed. So what did you jam? So you had Ancestral. That sounds fine. You know I have this. Do you know what your hand is from here? You had Vamp, Force, Hercules, Ancestral. Vamp, Force, Hercules, Ancestral, and you didn't know about my Force. Vamp, Force, Hercules, Ancestral. Let me just notepad this. Let's see if there's a way for you to play it where you win. Vamp, Force, Hercules, Ancestral. Yeah. Okay. That sounds fine. That sounds fine. And so your remaining cards are Force, Hercules, and Vamp. And so you can't go Vamp for Tinker because you know I have Flusterstorm. No, you have 3. Oh, that's more cards than you have. No, yeah, that's correct. That's the card because you cast Ancestral. No, you only have 3 cards in hand here. Okay, I mean, yeah, this looks fine. And then you play Hercules because I think Hercules was fine too. I liked that. It was kind of annoying for me. It just like hit the exact right number of cards where it was really annoying. And this basically baits out my Flusterstorm. Yeah, I think this is fine. I like that. That's fine. So now you have Vamp. You have Vamp Force. And then so you Vamp. Wait, what? How does this work out? Something's wrong, right? You just cast Vamp. What am I missing here? All right, let's play through this. So you crack, you spin. You know I have Ponder, Force, Sapphire, Vault, unknown as Force. So you knew I had a Force here. What you didn't know is that you didn't know I had another Force. Vampire, Tinker, top it to hand. Okay, so you drew a blue card. So you spun into a blue card. No, I mean, this sounds fine. This seems perfectly fine. Yeah, no, this play is perfectly fine. You would have beat what you knew was in my hand. There were 2 unknowns, and you just couldn't beat Force or Fluster. Yep, that's fine. No, you played that game fine. I just had a better setup for exactly what you had. There was like other things that could have happened here where like I cast PO, do you counter PO? Like if I didn't have second force per se, I could do something like force your thing, and then you would force my thing, and then I could like PO into a Flusterstorm or something. Like there were definitely more ways you could have lost that than just a second force, but I think you are, you're taxed into what you have in your hand, and I think the way you played that was fine. Like the only thing you could think about is like, is the Hercules worth it? And I think the Hercules look good. You could have theoretically let the Hercules resolve, or sorry, you could have theoretically let the PO resolve. So if you let this PO resolve and I have force fluster, then I still have to force your ancestral, right? But then you have to beat a Flusterstorm, which you might be able to do by just like untapping and vamping. But then I draw 2 cards. No, I think the way you played it was fine. I'm down with the way you played it. PO, yeah. It was weird because it felt like it did kind of feel like I was outplaying you, but it was really just I had drawn a 1 force that you didn't know about. So in the end, it's just better cards, better PO player. Nah, just kidding. GG is for sure crazy. It's tough to win a PO mirror if you just don't have the right tools. I really liked the fact that you had the witches in game 2. Like I had a Karn off of my first Narset. So the second witch was really good because I couldn't just like Karn you out. Like if most PO decks are pretty dead to just Narset into Karn, right? But you had witch, which was really, really annoying. I was like, oh man, I have force plus fluster for a turn 1 Narset. I'm definitely going to win. But you like played witch. I was like, okay, now we have to, do it the hard way. So, all right, GG's. Okay, here we are, 4th and final round, vintage prelim. We're up against Mark DM. Mark likes to play some kinds of rug variants, but we'll see what they're doing tonight. If they're on another non-creature deck, it means we haven't got to try the Oath sideboard at all, which is sad, but also it means that we got to test PO, which is nice. Oh my god, they have Mox, Tinker. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, Saga. Saga's actually not bad here because my plan was to Karn them. Wait, no, never mind. It's bad because Saga doesn't actually beat Karn. That's funny. Okay. So yeah, I'm am I mana short of Karn? Oh no, I'm a mana short of Karn, aren't I? Because this makes me 3 mana, then I have to go back down to 2 mana, then up to 3 mana. That's very unfortunate. So my opponent bricked because they played Saga in their deck, which is typical, but I didn't have enough mana to punish. I guess I can spin my top and try to hit a Lotus. It's kind of not a great play, but I could probably still play Sylvan after, so maybe it's fine. I mean, if they have a counterspell on top and they hit this, it's pretty game over, which they did. All right, well, I'm good here. We're going to go to the next game. My opponent played turn 1 Tinker, and I died. So I wasn't even going to be able to resolve a Karn anyways, so not a huge deal. Sometimes they just have the Tinker. So again, another matchup where Oath of Druids is not very good. So I guess happy not to have it in my main deck. We're going to bring in Fluster, and we're going to take out Island, and we're going to try again. Another PO mirror. No, that's not necessarily true, Zachary. They paid 5 life off the top of their library with the Bolas' Citadel for the PO, for the Force of Will. So, I mean, they could have had turn 1 Tinker with a land drop and Force of Will in hand. We don't know. That was definitely within the range of things that could have happened there. So. But, I mean, that's vintage. Sometimes you get tinkered. Yeah, I think this hand has enough tools that I want to keep it. It's a little action light, but maybe we'll probe into some action. But I mean, having misstep, fluster, repeal is pretty nice against a Tinker Mirror, especially a Saga Mirror. So yeah, basically we got to test out the PO core shell with green, and it's been fine. Like we're doing okay. All right, let's probe and see what we have working with here. What do you have? Opal, Pearl, Repeal, Delta, Ponder, Narset. Interesting. This could be really bad for me if my opponent hits Moxen and slams a Narset. So I think I actually am supposed to go hold open everything and maybe Mystical for Ancestral. Unfortunately, Mana Gorger is not very good against Saga tokens, so I don't think Mana Gorger is worth playing in green PO anymore, which is unfortunate because Mana Gorger PO was really fun. But I think the way like Hydra lines up against tokens is really bad. I'm just gonna misstep this. Keep my opponent away from scary things. So now my opponent has to have drawn a counter spell. Pearl, sure. Mox, sure. I mean, they have one unknown. Okay. The worry is it gets raised. Yeah. Like you lose out on a lot of free damage and you might get raced, and I think there are some problems with it. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna just go get an Ancestral Recall because I'm really scared of this Narset. I could have gotten a Force, I guess, but that's kind of weak. I guess they can technically have drawn Force here or a misstep for turn, but that's a risk I have to take. They drew Force for turn? All right. Well, it's just one of those nights. So now they just need to draw a Moxen or a land to slam Narset, and we lose, which is not a great place to be. They didn't draw either of those, though, so small victories. I'm surprised. Well, they can't cycle Repeal because they pitched Repeal. Well, this is rough life. At least we can maybe spin into a Force now. I was really hoping they didn't top deck Force of Will on the first turn of that game there, after we stopped them from pondering. Okay, so this actually is not a blue land, so they can't play Narset. Saga strikes again. Brilliant. Man, what a card. Not if I kill them first, right? Like the whole idea is I need to kill them first. Oh, it doesn't look like I'm going to kill them first. I'm actually going to brick out here and lose. That's unfortunate. Shit. The Saga draw was like really bad, but unfortunately I don't have a follow-up draw that's good enough, so it is what it is. I guess what I could do is I could repeal my top. It's not actually good. Kind of need the. Do I need the repeal for the Saga token? Not really. I kind of need to just win. I guess I can spin and try to find action to PO next turn. Okay. This is so bad. Okay. This is fine, I guess, right? I just repeal my... I don't hold up Fluster, but I kind of need to fetch this turn. I guess I'll get a Trop. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not great for me. I did not draw very well here. Oh, I was never going to die to Saga tokens. Saga tokens are horrible. I'm going to die to this Narset is what I'm going to die to. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I still have a chance to win this game if my opponent doesn't play a Narset this turn. Did you tinker? Oh, no, they made a token. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. I don't care about that. All right, so how do I win? I need to draw Time Walk, cast Time Walk, spin, find a Moxen, draw Moxen, play PO, and then combo, I guess. Draw Moxen, or draw Time Walk, cast Time Walk, spin my top. I can find a Force for an Narset. I drew an other Opal. Pain. Pain. No, Saga is very good in Vintage. I just think Saga makes this deck specifically worse. Yeah, sorry, that's probably really confusing for someone who's just starting the stream. Urza Saga is a very good card in Vintage. It's a big portion of the Vintage metagame. There's kind of an in-joke meme on this stream where I think Saga is bad in a lot of decks that utilize Saga, and Saga makes your deck worse in specific ways. So I am personally not a fan of playing Saga in, like, say, my deck or my opponent's deck. And whenever I play with Saga, it's always extremely bad. Like, it misses a colorful mana, or it gets locked away with a Collector Roof and you can't use it, or it gets Force of Vigor with the trigger on this deck, so it never makes mana. Basically, there's a lot of downsides to Saga that people don't really just talk about. They only talk about how it's, it just makes free creatures and it gets you a Black Lotus. But a lot of times, like, it hinders you or hurts you or loses you the game as well. And it's just like, because it's an enchantment with a trigger, like, there's a lot of downsides, basically. So yeah, I guess that is a little confusing if you don't know the in-joke. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked. Oh, we are so very dead here, though. We are so very, very dead here. I don't know exactly how, because what's going to happen is my opponent's going to get like a Black Lotus or a Sapphire and play this Narset, and I'm not going to be able to PO combo. And like, I can dress down right now to turn off this Opal, but like, I'm drawing dead cards. I guess I could maybe draw my own Lotus, but it doesn't really get me super far. I guess I should spin first. Well, I don't know the third card down. I could draw the second dress down and then spin, and that's not that good. Yo, thanks for joining us, Clifta. Appreciate that. Like, what card 3 down could possibly be good enough? Force of Will, right? But that would be better if I drew 1 card down first. So I think we should just cast Dress Down. I think casting Dress Down now is good because it turns off. Well, maybe I should cast it at my end step. Yeah, I should have cast this at my end. Well, I kind of want them to make another construct. It's possible I was supposed to cast this at my end step. Yeah, I should have cast this Dress Down on my end step so that it would have stayed during my opponent's next turn. The problem with that line is, like, I want them to make a Saga token so badly. Them making a Saga token is so much better for me than them, like, making a mana and playing an Narset. Oh, they're gonna make a Saga token? Okay, I mean, they can still go, like, Lotus, I guess, and then play Narset. So this is good for me because I have another Dress Down. Yeah. Saga gets baited again. All right, so if this gets Lotus, though, they can still play. Yeah. So in the end, it still doesn't exactly work out for me. Oh, they didn't tap. Oh, no, they didn't. They too, because this is thing. Okay, so I have to hit a Force in the 2 unknowns here, or I'm going to have some serious problems this game. Interesting. Those might be good enough, actually. Saga could lose them this game here. This is interesting. This is super interesting. So I get a Soul Ring and I have 4 mana. I have to... I can just Karn right away as long as they don't hit. Karn up to 6. Yeah, this Karn is great. I definitely highly recommend playing Karn in your main if you can. And most decks can. All right, so what I don't want to see is like a force off of this Narset, I would assume. Is bad for me. Ancestral's probably bad for me. This looks still winnable, though. They hit Ancestral, by the way. Whatever, man. All right, you're right. I can't draw with top, but I can at least stress down the construct on their turn. It still seems like Karn could win this game. So yeah, so I play a Soul Ring. I dress down them on their turn, and then I play a Karn, attack the Narset with my top and PO combo. Not right away. I should probably have done that. Yeah, I want to draw a card. I think I'm just supposed to do this now. Or they draw another card, maybe? Well, I can draw a top on their turn, but it doesn't help me play Karn, and I'm going to draw with this dress down instead. So I guess I'll spin again, because I know that I have an opal that I don't care about. Like, I want a force, I guess. An academy. An academy is interesting. As is a crypt, I guess. All right, so my opponent casts an Ancestral, and they have a Narset in play. We're still pretty bad. Like, our Karn board is terrible. It's just a lattice and some of my graveyard hate. It's not really about the Karn board. It's more about turning off. Okay, so they hit a fluster off this Narset. That's kind of bad for me, because now if they PO, they have counter magic backup. Don't know if they had that before. I think I'm going to join you in 2-2 very soon, Ian. My opponent seems to be a more powerful wizard than I am. Like the Saga. Oh, they drew Tinker? Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. It was a good Ancestral recall. Oh, shit. Yeah, I mean, when your opponent resolves 2 Tinkers and you resolve 0, it's like very, very difficult to win the matchup. Did they screw up their Flusterstorm? No. First one. Maybe? I don't know. I'm going to pay for one of these. Yeah, I think they flustered their own spell by accident here. They can still pay enough, but it's definitely better for me. They might have to fetch if I... Yeah, never mind. Yeah, they have to fetch. Awesome. That was... unless this isn't actually targeting Tinker. Haha, alright, well, you have a shot. They had to use their fetch, and did they play a land this turn? I think they played a land this turn, so that means they have no land drops to give. They could definitely brick, and then we can play a Karn, and then maybe it gets better? Can you brick? Not a forcible brick, though, like a Flusterstorm brick or something. They drew Pio off the top. Would have been a tighter play if you pay for your flusters until they had a single blue. I mean, there's like lots of different things they can do, for sure. All right, well, I can just F6 through this now. You've only seen me brick about 1,000,000 times, Raphael. Come on now, you've been to the stream before. All right, so here we go. Hopefully it's like an Urza Saga on top. So if we go Karn, if this resolves, then I can stand up top, attack PO, attack Narset. Oh, it doesn't let me draw into PO this turn. Oh, they hit Force of Will. Oh, they had it in their hand. Okay, so they drew into Force of Will Ancestral Tinker. Ah, okay, fair enough. My opponent's too good. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna lose Tinker matchups where your opponent draws better. Like, this is kind of what happened to... This is basically what happened to Crazy in round 3 versus us. We had better cards, we won. This time my opponent had better cards, they won. This is the big reason why I would never want PO to be the best deck in the format. It's just not a very good mirror. There's not a super amount of like I think Crazy and I both played at a similar level in our match, and I like very easily 2-0'd, and that was just mostly because my cards were better. And in this match, like, their cards were just much better than mine. Like, Dress Down was definitely better than Saga there by like a huge amount. It's just when I used my top, I found nothing of that mattered at all. So it does be like that. I actually don't think the Judge Mirror is worse than the PO Mirror. I think the PO Mirror is definitely worse. Yeah, I just think, yeah, playing PO Mirrors is just not very fun. But so what did we learn? We learned that you should play Karn in your PO deck, that the green splash didn't really matter. I didn't get to use this Oath package at all because none of my opponents played non-blue decks. But yeah, I mean, PO is in a good spot, I think. The deck seems like strong. I don't know if I will play PO for the showcase. I'm debating between Oath and PO right now, but if people are going to be playing PO with Sagas, I think you should be playing POs with Dress Down. So it doesn't really make sense to me where you would play Saga, because like Saga just doesn't solve any of your problems in your PO deck, and it just makes you weaker to most things. It's just not a very good card in your PO deck. It makes your Tinkers worse. It makes you weaker to Vigor. It makes you weaker to Wasteland. I would rather just play some Dress Downs, which then you don't have to answer then you have answers to creatures in your deck. You beat opposing Saga players because they just like put a bunch of mana into a Saga that doesn't do anything. And you just play on the stack versus them. So yeah, I mean, I think that this shell is good. Like, I don't know about the green splash still. We have to play some leagues, I guess, and try to find some people who are on non-blue decks, but we struggled versus Pyroblast deck, which is just all PO decks will always struggle with Pyroblast decks. And then we didn't really get to play versus Ian's deck. And his deck kind of just folded. And then we won a PO Mirror and lost a PO Mirror. So not like a super amount of information, but we did learn a lot of things. We went back and checked multiple matches. Like in round 1, there were definitely sequences where we could have done better. Especially when you're playing this deck that doesn't actually have like a Storm win con. When you have just Karn, Oko, and Citadel Will as your win cons, you have to be pretty precise with how you PO combo sometimes when they like, I don't know, randomly surgically extract your POs. so there's something to be said there. I'm definitely going to stream maybe more leagues this week in attempts to get practice in before the tournament this weekend. So hopefully you all tune in for that. If you're here for the first time from J-Bro stream and you stuck around, I really appreciate that. If you're into Vintage or want to learn Vintage, this is a good place to be. I stream normally on Wednesdays, 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern after work, and then Saturdays are Vintage Challenges at 1 p.m. Eastern. Those are my 2 main normal streams. This weekend is going to be a Showcase Challenge, which is a really big challenge that cues you for some crazy events in the future. So definitely check that out. And I'll see you in the next video.